problems with the Army's court-martial system. So I'm going to read this section now. He was 23 years old, by the way. He was a full-fledged lawyer, and he was assigned this job by his commanding officer, and that job lasted for 2 years. As he got started, Sandy's mind focused on the dozens and dozens of soldiers being held. They weren't deserters. Desertion required intention to desert. They'd gone off looking for a little fun and had stayed away too long, then being scared of what might happen to them when they returned. They stayed away longer until they missed their Army pals. Then they surrendered to their units or the military police and soon found themselves charged with a serious offense. Part of the problem, Sandy realized, was that the majority of the Canadian forces had been shipped over to Britain ready for action near the beginning of the war. But now they'd been in Britain in large numbers, in a state of readiness, and they'd been there for a long time, and a time period might stretch into years. These soldiers were mostly young, and it was unnatural for them to be so far away from home for so long. And it all contributed to them being bored and unhappy and getting into trouble. The Army should have foreseen this would happen, Sandy said to himself, not for the first time. Compounding this problem, as he also so often pointed out to whomever would listen, was that the base units didn't have the power to convene a court-martial themselves. That power rested solely with the senior officers at the Canadian military headquarters in London. At first, the colonels in the units did not take well to this young officer throwing his CO's name around. But before long, he lined up obliging lawyers, and working together, they completed summaries of evidence on hundreds of cases, and they sent them all off to London. The files hit the Judge Advocate Generals, or JAG branch, at CMHQ like a bomb. No one had forewarned them. What were they to do with this large stack of files? And that was the point when Captain Sandy MacPherson was sent to London for 2 months training on convening court-martials. It happened just as the Blitz was at its peak. If I'm not to be a fighting soldier, I'm certainly having adventures, he allowed himself to consider. And I'm going to tidy up this mess the Army has on its hands.